Hello and welcome to the Mad Leprechaun. My name is Mert Walsh. Over the past 3 to 4 years since I've been running my YouTube channel, I have been influenced, helped, and yes, I've had words of encouragement and advice from one individual in particular. That individual I've wanted to sit down with and chat to on camera for quite some time. The planets never really seemed to line up, but today they did. So after the intro, will you please join me where I sit down and I chat with Teapot One. But we finally got you to sit down so we can have a chat.
It's taken a while, this,
Ladies and gentlemen, Teapot One.
How we doing, folks? You all right?
Very smart. Thanks ever so much for doing this today.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure. I'm glad that we managed to get the stars to align.
It's he's a very busy boy. Right, get us off for a little start. What advice would you give to someone starting a YouTube channel?
Oh wow. Right. I think you need to ascertain a few things first. Why do you want to do the YouTube channel? What's the point? You know, do you want to be mega famous? Is that the thing? Do you want massive subs? Are you wanting to share stuff with friends and family? Is it a personal thing where you want an outlet for whatever is going on in your life? Are you just creative and you want to create something? Figure that out first. You're not going to get massive overnight. You know, very, very, very few exceptions will that happen. I've been doing this near 14 years now, and still not 100,000.
90k.
Yeah. The first 1,000 genuinely is one of the toughest things to get to. That first 1,000 mark. I would just say, I think with YouTube these days, you either have to go all in, as in throw everything at it, or you just accept the fact that this is just going to be a hobby, and if it grows, it grows. We'll see how things go. Be you is what I'd also say. Just be you, and you'll attract your community, your tribe, as they call it.
Clan.
Yeah, just be. Well, I mean, I'm saying be you, but it depends what channel you've got. You know, if you've got a channel where you're not actually going to be in the front, it's just going to be like a talking head channel. No, not talking head. But you know, you get these channels now that they're just pictures and videos and animation. And like Paddy Galloway, that's a prime example. He's not in the bike world, but he's a very, very successful channel. And and if you're going to be doing that sort of thing, then obviously you don't need to be in front of the camera. So you could do the same in the bike world. You know, if you're a moto vlogger, you could be the one that never shows the face. You've just got a tinted visor. So there's a bit of mystique around about that. Just figure out what you want your channel to be. Yeah. And then go from there.
Yeah. Do you look at the stats, on your YouTube stats, and how they go up and down?
Sorry, I have a cat and 2 dogs. They're not shy.
Do you look at the stats, and if you do look at the stats and how they go up and down, how do they affect you? Positively.
I've got to admit, I don't do that as much as I should. I know people like TMF, Andy really does digest his analytics, and that shows because he's got one of the biggest channels that there is in the UK. I tend just to. I did get really fixated on the subs, you know, the subs going up and the subs going up. Yeah. To be honest now, it's not that I don't care. If they go up, they go up. If they go down, they go down. I've been in this game long enough now to know that it's peaks and troughs, you know, it varies. The main one I'll look at is viewer retention. I really look at that because these days, it used to be a few years ago, if you got above, say, 40% in your viewer retention, that was good enough for YouTube to go, this is a good vid and we'll push this out to more people. These days you need to be 70, 80, 90% before the algorithm will go, right, let's punt this out to a whole load of new people. But it fluctuates, it changes all the time.
Now this is a similar question, but I did ask some people if you could ask Bruce a question, what would you ask? So Mark from Roadskin punted out a question and he said, which I'm going to put it in because it's very similar to a question I asked a moment ago, but I'm going to put it in because it does provoke another question. Mark from Roadskin asked if you could advise anyone wishing to become a social media influencer stroke creator, name one key factor that you think makes a good influencer or creator. Now, I think you've covered it, but if you've got something to expand on, please do.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, then I'll ask you the other question that
For me, it has to be, you got to be genuine and have integrity, because for me personally, if you haven't got that, I'm not interested in you. I'm not. Why should I believe or act on anything you say or do if I don't think you're being genuine or you've got integrity?
I think that's, and I obviously clearly know you a bit now. We're not best buddies, but we clearly know each other. I thought we were. But we do know each other, and what I would say is, if I was meeting someone on the street and talking about you, you're honest. You're very, very honest, and I think that, in some respects, is kind of reason why your channel is where it is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but it's also, it does also hold you back.
Exactly.
It will also hold you back.
That's what I mean. It's kind of it's because of your honesty. So the question that I would say on this is, are you happy or comfortable with the term influencer or creator? Because I know which one I'm happy with.
I mean, being all arty-farty, you want to be known as a creator, but I think we, I've had this discussion with a few people before, and there's a lot of us who hate the term influencer.
Oh, I hate it.
But you actually are, influencer to me.
I know, but I hate it.
Influencer to me are these idiots that are just fame hungry, and they'll do anything to get subs or followers and all this sort of stuff. So, pardon the expression, and I'm not just pointing this in the woman direction, but the tits and ass, it's just all about visuals, and they'll do anything to get that. And blokes are included in that.
And let's face it, neither of us have got it.
Well, exactly. I mean, I often say this, if I was the body beautiful type, then you'd exploit that. Of course you would. Well, I'm not blessed with these things, so you have to find other means. But to be honest, I don't care. Whatever you think I am, if you think I'm a twat, I don't care. It's just, call me what you want.
How do you deal with negative comments?
I do bite. I bite. I've got to admit, I bite. I let some things go, but other times I just think, I'm not a punch bag for people. No. So, if I think someone's having a proper pop for absolutely no reason, then I'm going to question that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I should just delete it. But, I also look at the point of view that, okay, maybe they're trying to stir a reaction from me. So, okay, I'll reply. I'll say something back. Yeah. And hopefully they'll reply to that, because then that's engagement, and that helps your channel at the end of the day. True, right. But you don't want to get into a tit-for-tat slanging match with people, which in the earlier days I think I have done. You do have to watch what you say and do, because that's up there forever. And the written word, I think the written word can be taken in...
Can be misconstrued.
Absolutely, totally. It's not like this. No. And the other thing is that, I had a point there and I've forgotten my comments. Oh yeah, your mental health, to be perfectly honest with you. If you get tied up in the comment world, that cannot be very good for you, for sure. And I've definitely failed at that a few times.
Yeah, Dave Perry, when I was chatting to him, he said he was going through a bad time. Someone had made a comment and it really, really affected him negatively. And he responded to them, like, oh, no, I didn't actually mean that. So, kind of, at the end of the day, I find some comments keep you real and keep you grounded, and that's fine. And that's one level of negativity, and that's fine, and it kind of keeps you real. I find that some kind of, they're going to step up a bit more. Yeah, okay, engage like you said. But then if it's too, you just got delete. But mostly, if they're the middle ground, I just go, thanks ever so much. And I just leave it like that.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's important to engage with the comments. I take the mindset that if someone's taking the time to leave a comment on the channel, then it's the absolute least I can do to at least acknowledge that and give them a thumb or a heart or whatever it is, or reply. And that builds the community thing, which I think community is a very...
It's very important to you, isn't it?
Very important thing for me in the channel, because for me, I don't want my channel to be all about me. It's about our world. It's about the motorcycling world, the travel world, and using bikes to meet people and explore new places and get new experiences.
Yeah, and like that, I had someone say to me yesterday that because TMF said that his touring videos don't do well at all.
No, they don't. Yeah.
And they don't. Mine certainly didn't last time. But someone did say, well, if I was going to go to Spain, I'd look at that, and that, and kind of, and before I know it, I've got some points of interest or places to go.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
It's a niche thing too. You know, motorcycling is a very niche market.
Slightly less niche than what I was doing. But.
Well, yes. Well, this is it. But you know, within biking, you've got lots of little sub niches, and touring's one of them.
Yeah.
So you're taking a niche sub market within an already niche market, and that just narrows your views down. But I pretty much touring is what I do. You know, it's what I do for a living. So that is my channel pretty much.
Yeah. How do you choose what content you want to create for your channel? Whether it's a review or a tour or.
I'm very bad at that at the moment because I have got myself into a position where I have such a massive backlog of content. I've basically got all of 2024 still to edit. All my tours from 2024 still need to be edited. I've got at least one, possibly two from 2023. I've got a couple of clan meets from this year that still haven't been edited. I've got a Switzerland trip from 2020, 2021, which hasn't been edited.
Wow.
I've just got such a massive, I've probably got 8 months worth of content of chucking out 1 to 2 videos a week.
And he's making time for this video.
Well, this, you know, I literally spend my life over the winter, so from October to April, I'm pretty much sat in my office editing to try, and I'm failing miserably, so I'm trying to figure all this out. But in answer to your question, in my head, I have loads of vids that I want to make because they interest me. You know, I'm a bit of a tech head. You know, I like this stuff. I like the cameras and the mics and drones. I would rather my channel was more of a tech channel around the moto vlogging sphere.
Yeah.
That's what I would really like Teapot One to be. But I've just got such a massive backlog of content, tour-based, and a couple of bike reviews, that I'm not in a position where I can create that stuff. I haven't got the time to film it and investigate it and test cameras and stuff. So by the time I've done my testing, which is on my tours, you know, I haven't done a full review of the Insta360 Ace Pro yet, and that's already been superseded with the Pro 2. So I was going to do my review based on a year's worth of touring. You can't do that in the modern world. No. Things change so much. So I need to speed up and become a lot more efficient on my filming and my prepping and my research.
Right. I think you've answered this question already, but it's there, so I'm going to ask it. How long does it take you to edit a video?
It all depends. For me, I find anything over sort of 20 minutes, anything over a 20-minute vid, I'm looking more your 3 to 5 days to edit that vid. Sub 20 minutes, you know, a simple sat in the office doing like an unboxing vid and a review of something. The actual editing of that, I can get that done in 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
They're very easy to edit.
Right.
For me, what takes the time is the tour stuff, which is pretty much all my content these days. But with that, you have to take a day's worth of filming, possibly anywhere from an hour and a half to 5 hours, 6 hours of filming, depending on what you've got. Yeah. And you then have to try and, you've got to go through all that, obviously cut out any dialogue that you think this can make a nice little sequence. And then the way I do my vids, mine tend to be dialogue, quick montage, you know, trying to link up everything that's happened through that day or a few days. And all that takes time because you have to go through, you know, an hour and a half, 3-4 hours worth of footage, and you're going through that constantly, chopping it into little bits, and then you go through that and whittle away and whittle away and whittle away and just try and chisel it down to whatever it is. So at the moment, these vids that I'm doing at the moment, which are 15 minutes to 20 minutes, I'm at the point where I can get one of them done in 2 to 3 days now.
Oh really? Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But they're long days, you know. You know, it's long days. You're talking 12, 15 hour days. But
Right, I might struggle to read this, so I forgot my glasses. You create reviews, trips, tours, and product reviews. Is there a video that you have made and produced that you knew might not necessarily get high footfall, but you thought, no, that video needs to be made? Have you got one that you've already done that kind of springs to mind? One
that I've made that I know isn't going to be particularly high views.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, we all as creators, we like to try and get footfall, but then sometimes you go, no, that video needs to be made. Yeah, it's you know.
I mean, I'm kind of in that position with most of my vids because they're all tour based, and I know they're not going to get big views. But you know, that's what I enjoy doing.
Okay.
So I just put it out there, and the people that do watch them, hopefully they do enjoy them.
Yeah. Oh, and this is this next question. You should tell us about your Patreon, because this is one of your Patreon members who's also one of my subs. His name is Andy Mully.
Oh yeah. How you doing, Andy?
And Andy Mully asked the question: if YouTube was to go belly up in the morning, what would you do, or do you have a backup plan?
God, I am very lucky in that YouTube doesn't pay my bills. You know, it never, in a direct sense. So I don't make my money off of the ad revenue in YouTube. It's a little bit, but it's not, you know, you're talking 500-600 quid, it's not much.
Yeah.
I make my money through things like my tours and Patreon. They're my main money income, to be honest. They keep the roof over my head.
And that's Chicken Strip.
Chickenstrips.co.uk. Yeah. So but YouTube is a marketing vehicle for that.
Yep.
You know, so it obviously it does help. If YouTube was to go belly up, then I'm assuming other social media platforms are still available. So you still got Instagram, Facebook, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
If you didn't have any of that, then yeah, I mean, you could be struggling, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But you just have to adapt. You just have to adapt and overcome. And if you're doing YouTube full time as your main job, then you're self-employed. And I think to be successful when you're self-employed, what I'm learning is that you have to be very versatile.
Right.
And you can't rely on just one source of income. You need to diversify your income streams.
Okay.
So it's things, you know, for me or anyone that's in this sort of ilk, this influencer world, it's things like merch, it's things like, you know, if you do brand deals, if you were to do sponsored content, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that, you know, I think if you're on the other side of the screen and you're watching, sometimes annoys you when people are doing these ads and all that sponsored content, but it's a necessary part of this role if you want to do it as a job.
Yeah.
But what I would say is be very selective with what you align yourself and your brand to. I certainly am, because again, it comes back to that integrity thing, doesn't it? And that, you know, I don't want to recommend something and then you go and spend your money on it and think, well, this is a pile of tosh. You know, I'm not going to trust that bloke and whatever he says again.
Yeah.
You're never going to please everybody. What I like, you might not like, but you've got to, I think, be honest about it, for sure.
I mean, I did a review on a set of tyres recently on my channel, and someone came back and said something about what I'd said, and I thought, surely you wouldn't go and buy a product based on what one person said. Yeah. You would go and listen to you and Andy and me and whatever, and then get an informed, balanced opinion, and then go and buy the product.
People do, though. People do. People buy bikes based on what they see on YouTube. Yeah.
Wow.
And tyres especially, man. Tyres are minefields because what I like, you might not like. You know,
well, I actually bought them based on what you said, and I thought, and that is a fact, and I'm a bit of a tart, because they kind of looked a certain way and they kind of fitted the genre of bike I ride. I thought, I quite like them, but you know what, turns out you were right.
What ones are they?
The Mutants.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah,
absolutely
do everything, don't they?
Yeah, really good time.
Yep.
Where was I? Andy Mully.
And actually, I'll follow on from that, because I have actually, I'm not being sponsored, but Dunlop have given me free tyres for about the last 5 years. Never hidden that fact. They've just given me the tyres. Wanted nothing in return, just feedback. Yeah. And that's not happening anymore, but I'll still spend my money on those tyres, because they're, for me and my style of riding, they're
because you're pretty much, you ride, you don't like where today, I did actually, because I've got all the kit, lights, etc. I turned up in my car and it is -3 outside, but you pretty much, you will travel by bike pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I don't own a car. I mean, that car out there is my wife's, and she's always out and about and doing stuff with it. So a bike is my mode of transport. Yep. I'm not stupid with it, you know. If I don't need to go out on the bike and it's like this, then obviously I'm not going to go out. But if I've got something that needs to be done and the bike's the way I can get there, then I'll go out on it. You just have to be sensible, don't you?
Yeah. When you travel, what part of your kit, and it doesn't have to be a camera or the stuff, what part of your kit could you just not live without?
I hate to be this person, but it's my phone.
You're not the only one that said that. Yeah.
The phone. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry.
A phone. You know, I genuinely do a lot of my filming off the bike with my phone. Yeah. I own, you know, a lot of these cameras that Mark has here, the DJI Pocket. I've got that. I've got drones. I've got all sorts. But the vast majority of my stuff is just filmed straight from my phone. So it's my camera, it's my navigation, obviously a plug. I use Kalimoto or whatever, you know, if you use Google Maps or Waze or whatever it is, I use my phone for that. It's my way of keeping in contact with the outside world when I'm away, so keeping in touch with my wife at home, friends, family. Social media is a big thing, so it's how I interact with you people as well. Maybe if I'm meeting up with you when I go somewhere, or somebody says to me, I post and say I'm in northern Spain, this place. Somebody might go, oh, you've got to try this road, or you've got to go here and try that. So it's invaluable for me, really. Yeah.
I've actually got 3 videos, and we'll play the first video now. Let you watch the first video, and it's Dave Perry, and and see what you want to say to Dave.
Okay.
Bruce, how you doing, me old shiner? Come here, I have a question for you. When you gonna come to sunny old Ireland and try some Parmesan coated chips cooked in truffle oil on your new GS? Because I reckon you've got a new GS on the way. In fact, not only do I reckon you have a new GS on the way, I reckon you've got a new GS-A on the way. Anyway, I'm waiting for you. There's a pint of that black stuff with a lovely creamy head on it waiting for you. Don't take too long because I might drink it.
Dave, as I'm watching this is January the 12th, and in my head I'm thinking, I've got a weekend off in a couple of weeks. I'm going to give you a little call, Dave. I'm coming, absolutely. Those chips sound amazing. Dave is somebody I would like to do a little collab with, because obviously...
That goes back to what we said earlier.
Yeah, Dave's, if you don't know, folks, Dave's a professional cameraman.
Yeah.
And I would love to get his
really
input.
nice.
Yeah, he is a really nice fella. I would love to just see how he sets things up. Yeah. Not necessarily on the bike, because I think we all do things pretty the same there, but his off-bike stuff, you know, like how he sets cameras and audio and lighting, and his editing process as well. I'd be very interested to see all that. So Dave, I'm coming to see you. I'm going to drop you a little line, actually. I think there's plans afoot.
Right, have you got a favourite camera, and how many cameras do you bring with you when you travel? Because that's how many cameras I've got.
Yeah. Right.
And I think a lot of people who don't do, I'm going to stick my neck out here, what we do, don't realise just how many cameras and stuff you need to bring with you to be able to produce and create. I
think it depends, because what we do on the bikes, you know, you've got the motovlogging side of things where you have the helmet either on your lid or on the bike or somewhere and you're recording the audio, but then you also have off-bike stuff. So, you know, when you're wandering around and doing more traditional filming and this sort of stuff as well. If you're filming stuff in your office, your studio, whatever it is, you're doing a review at home, that sort of stuff. So on the bike side of things, I used to be a GoPro man through and through. Been using GoPro since GoPro One. I've literally got the 1, 2, 3 plus, the 5, the 7, the 9, 10, 11, and then I just bought the 13 as well. So I've used more or less all of the GoPros. Okay. And they continually let me down, constantly let me down, but I just stayed with them. Insta360 approached me early last year about the Ace Pros. I was a little bit reticent to try them, but I took them to America when I did the Appellation series that I did over there. And I really started to fall for them personally. I thought these are good, but I was very eager to try the DJIs because I'd heard about the DJI Action. I bought the DJI Action 4, tried it, hated it, too light. I really hated the way there was a delay in the audio kicking in when you plugged the mic in. I really didn't like that. I film by switching cameras on and off throughout.
That one does the same thing.
Yeah. It's really annoying, isn't it?
Because it does make you think it did record audio, but it is actually there.
But it kicks in, you know, it can be 10 seconds, it can be 30 seconds, it kicks in. When you're on the bike, the way I film, you know, I have my cameras in standby, so I'll be riding along and I'll think, all right, I'm going to say something, or this looks quite good up here, so I'll switch the cameras on. Traditionally, when you have a lav mic plugged in, the audio kick, you know, there's like a 5-second startup time for the camera to kick in, but the audio will kick in. When you're using the DJIs, whether you're using the wireless mic or plugged in lav mic, there can be like an additional 5 to 10 to 30 second delay before, and it was just really annoying. And I didn't like the picture as much with the DJI as I did. I didn't like the Insta or DJI picture as much as the GoPro initially,
right.
but I've really warmed to the Insta one now. And then now obviously they brought out the DJI 5, Action 5, which I've bought. I've got that upstairs. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet to try. And I've got just had the Ace Pro 2 delivered from Insta, so I'm going to try them and see. Right. But at the moment I rank them for the bike. I'll rank them the Insta 360 Ace Pro, then the DJI Action 4, because I've not tried the 5 yet, and then the GoPro Hero 13.
Right.
The GoPros have just been left behind, sadly. GoPros have got the best audio for me when you're in the bike. You get a really nice ambient noise of the bikes, and I think your voice sounds better on the GoPro. It's not as good on the Insta or DJI, but yeah, that's how I'd rank them at the moment.
Right.
Off bike, what you've got right here, this DJI Pocket 3, fantastic camera.
It's just brilliant.
Just
yeah,
fantastic.
Just love it.
Yeah.
I just find for walking around,
Yeah.
I've done anyway, it's not about movies, but but for when I'm walking around at like a bike show or something like that,
Yeah.
if I was to use that camera, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
People just think, who's that guy? But with one of them, it's just
Yeah,
brilliant.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good bit of kit.
What is next for your channel, or have you got something exciting coming in 2025? I'm looking for a scoop here, Bruce. Live.
Do you know? I mean, I am definitely at that point where, for me personally, I'm ready for a change in the channel.
Okay.
You know, like
That's risky, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. But then,
Yeah.
you know, such is life, isn't it? You know, the channel is, because it's just been all tours and tours and tours, and that is my life now. You know, like I'm pretty much, I do bike tours for a living, so. That's how I create my content. So I have to figure out a way of integrating that side of things with what I want to do on YouTube. And what I want to do on YouTube is more of your kit reviews. I'll do some bike reviews because they get the big views, but I'm really into the tech side of stuff and the editing side of stuff. In an ideal world, I would like to do a lot more tutorial based stuff on YouTube around, you know, helmet setups, audio, the editing, determining your shots when you're off the bike, how to film stuff, your drone side of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'd really like to be, more of a tech based channel around our motorcycle niche.
Right.
That's what I would like it to become. And I have my podcast as well, little plug, Brew Time.
Yep, by all means.
I really want to, I really
You've had some great, interesting people on there.
Oh God,
It's a very different thing to your normal channel, but it's still...
Yeah. I mean, as you can probably tell from this, I like to blather. So, like the podcast format of just sitting down and chatting with people, I love doing that.
Yeah.
And I would love that to be more prominent. It's growing, but it's you know, it's having come from to the Teapot One side of things, where I've got a fairly large subscriber base, to starting another channel up from fresh again, like I've done with the podcast channel. Yeah. It's a hard grind. You know, it's a hard grind.
Yeah. What is your biggest faux pas whilst making videos? Do you have one that really...
My mouth. I think I still do it, but I used to... I have this inbuilt need to say what I think, and I don't have much of a buffer on that. Yeah. So I hope I'm not rude, but I'll be upfront. You know, and if I think someone's wrong, or if I think they're talking keech, I have to say it. You know, I'll have to say that. That can get you in a lot of bother, I think, and. Yeah, I think you just need. I need to learn to be a little bit more, not withdrawn, a bit more reserved. Maybe is that the word? I don't know.
Yeah,
I've had that.
What is the oddest place that you've been recognised? Surely some place people must go, are you?
Yeah, I was in Morocco. I was in a place called Ouarzazate. And I was in a restaurant with a group of lads that I was taking on a tour around there, and we were waiting for our table, and this lady came up. She came up to the table and she said, are you Coffee? Are you Mr. Coffee? And I was like, I misheard her, and I thought I genuinely actually thought she was one of the waiter staff, and you know, she was asking, do I want a coffee? And I said, no, I'm fine, thanks, we're going to go and sit down. And some of the lads that were with started laughing, and they said, no, she's asking, are you Teapot? Are you Teapot? And I was like, oh, yes. And she went, my husband is a big fan and watches your channel. He's through there and he's too scared to come and say hello.
No way.
Would you come? So obviously, yeah, I went through to the table and said hello and had a chat to them. Yeah, but that sort of stuff's cool.
Yeah,
you know?
isn't it just?
Oh, it's brilliant. When people take the time to come up and say hello, I love all that. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I was recognised once. That's what made me think of that. Just once.
How can you not recognise you? You're about 9 foot tall.
But it was just how it happened.
Go for it.
Hi, Bruce. My question is, does artificial intelligence scare you?
AI. Yes. Yeah, I think we need to be very careful with AI. I think it can be brilliant. I think it can be awesome, but I think we need to be careful that we don't relinquish too much to it.
Yeah.
Hi Bruce. My question is, you've obviously achieved a lot in your life already, but do you have any life dreams still unfulfilled?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's
Simple
a good question.
but it's, yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a goodie, isn't it?
In travel, there are lots of places I still want to go to. Loads of places I still want to go. That's a little bit different now that I'm married with commitment. All the things that everyone used to turn around to me and go, oh, I'd love to do that, but, and in my head I was like, well, if you're already putting boundaries and restrictions ahead of you, you're never going to do it.
No.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Different. It's different once you're married or you have commitments, and you know you can still do it, but it's a different thing. I have things like, I've said I'm going to cycle around the UK, so I've said it, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when do I do it? I've got to find out when I can fit that in around a business, and you know, my wife works, so you know, the logistics.
Yeah.
I've got things in my head like, I've not said I'm going to do this yet, so I'm not being committed yet, but I would like to row the Atlantic.
I know, I was just thinking that. When you were talking about cycling around, I thought, didn't you say you were going to row across the Atlantic?
That really appeals to me.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of money and it's a big time expense. So it's things like that. And I think personally, I've not found my place yet within YouTube. I'm not creating the content I want to create yet.
Really?
Yeah, I've not.
Okay.
I've not got to that point, and I'm not entirely sure what that is. So, you know, I need to perfect my whole setup in that how I edit vids has to be a much quicker.
Right.
The creative process, what I do when I'm on my tours, it can't just be, right, we're going to Picos again, now we're going to Portugal again. Because you can only create so many vids on that and people just get bored, you know, and I can see that already in the views. So I need to start figuring out how I can incorporate other things into that.
Right. Cool.
But yeah, that's about it really. I can't complain. I'm perfectly happy with my setup in life. You know, I've got a lovely home, lovely wife. My dog's a bit of a twat, but you know. Yeah, good question though, Carl. I like it.
Right, collaboration. You have collaborated with other YouTubers in the past and other YouTube channels. Have you got a YouTube channel in your mind that you would like to collaborate with that you haven't?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, good.
Adam Ryman. I think he's fantastic.
Who's he then?
God, he's the Aussie guy that does fantastic vids, but they're all off-road focused, which is the slight drawback, because I'm not very good off-road and he's like champion material.
You have got better though.
You know, I'll do it. I'm not as bad as I make out I am,
Yeah.
but I'm not great either, and he is. But I love his creativity.
Right.
I love the videos that he creates. They're really engaging. I love his style. He seems like a genuine, decent lad as well. So I would love to do something with him. Outside the bike sphere, I love people like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat. I chatted about him already with you, Potato Jet. They're all sort of more traditional tech-based channels, blog style channels. Right. I love all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. One of my subs, Neil, said, do you have any other bikes other than your GS
Well, the jigsaw. Got the
He
jigsaw
obviously doesn't
now.
know. And what I would say is, can we put a piece in where we go and see it?
Of course.
Brilliant.
She's out in the garage just now. Yeah, got the jigsaw though.
Yeah, and we'll tell you why. Well, we'll tell Neil why he's got that bike, and then yeah, because lots of other people kind of go, yeah. But Neil, yes, Bruce does have another bike other than his GS. Do you like other types of bike, as well as adventure bikes?
Oh God, yeah. I like any bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not precious about bikes. Just, you know, as long as they've got, I was going to say at least 2 wheels. As long as they've got wheels and an engine, I enjoy it. Yeah. Just, I like what bikes give you.
Go on, tell us why you've got the jigsaw now. I know you're gagging. Yeah.
I was a sports bike guy. I hated adventure bikes.
Oh, Bruce, you went round the world on it. Come on.
All right, okay, yeah. So I started riding in 2008, made a promise to my mum before she passed away from cancer, sadly, that I'd live out this dream that I had of travelling the world and riding a motorbike. She'd always been anti-bike, so I'd never done the bike thing. So when she made me make that promise, I went and did my DAS, passed my test, bought a GSX-R 600 and said to my mum, she was in a hospice by that point, said to her, I've done it, I passed my test, I've got my bike. And she said, right, promise me you'll do this trip. So I did. 5 days later, she lost her battle. So that sort of kicked me off on a journey. Yeah. And I just came up with this idea that I'm going to ride my bike, which by that point was a Jigsaw Thou. I'm going to ride the Jigsaw Thou around the world. There were a couple of people out there. There's a Danish guy, Jacques Lucassen, and our very own Nick Sanders, who'd done it on R1s, on Fireblades, all this sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's possible. I knew it was possible. And I think it was the fact that so many people were saying, you can't do it on that bike.
Yeah, totally.
That's what really pushed me, because I wanted to raise money for charity when I was doing it, and yeah, that was it. So that kicked me into that, and that bike is sat out there. It's got 100,000 miles on it, absolutely battered, but she's still going, she's still roadworthy now. Got her back on the road. Love it. Yeah, that's why I've got the Jigsaw Thou.
Brilliant.
Right, sorry about the state of this garage and this bike. Current state, bogging, fantastic, love it. And then this is the beast. Wow. I don't know if she'll start because she's sat here. The last time I rode this was October, so I don't know if she'll start. And the ignition's froze. There we go. Oh, you know what? The beast. So this has got 101,000 miles on it. She's done 74 countries. What a machine. My heart. Listen to that engine. Man, that engine, you'll hear, I think you can hear me anyway. I've got a mate of mine who's a mechanic on a race team. He had a look at this bike when I came back and he said that engine's tighter than some of the engines they work with. Awesome. That's her. Oh, thank you. The
leathers?
Yep. Which one was it? Which one's the original? That's the original leathers. The original one. So they did most of the trip. When you have a look here, you can see.
You changed in America, is that right?
Yeah, this company was that company was my main sponsor, Delta Energy Services, but they came on board after it went wrong in Africa. So I came back after Africa with basically no money, thinking, how can I reignite this dream? And they approached me and put some money on the table that basically allowed me to get going again. So the only thing they wanted was they were opening up a new office in Houston, in Texas. So they said, when you get there, can we do some PR marketing material? By the time I got there, these leathers were absolute. I mean, the arse is all worn away. The shoulders have worn away where the rucksack was, and on the back is all worn away. I'd crashed quite a few times. I literally had sweat, vomited, and every orifice, things have come out whilst I was crossing Asia on these. So they weren't great. So they said, look, if we get you some new leathers made up, we can get prominent position with logos. So that's where these leathers came from. No, I don't fit in them anymore.
I don't like doing the burning building scenario. So I'm doing this scenario, it's a scenario because I've done this scenario with someone else and they thought that it was actually a thing. So this is the scenario. There is a new government in power and they make a new law. And the new law is you're only allowed to have one motorbike. So which one do you choose?
Oh, that's hard.
Oh, I know it is.
No, that is hard. Because,
oh, really?
Well, because I've got my Jigsaw out there. It would be a GS. It would be the adventure bike because it does everything. I can do.
No, you have to get rid of one of them.
This is what I mean. So, do I get rid of my Jigsaw or do I get rid of the GS?
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say I would have to keep the Jigsaw because I've taken the Jigsaw off-road, literally over rocks and mountains, through rivers. But I can also put that on the track and I can ride it on the road. So I'd keep the Jigsaw. And she's my baby. Yeah. It's the original beast.
Ian Mott, who's also one of your patrons.
How you doing, Ian?
Said, what part of the world would you not go to and why? And this is kind of inspired by Nora Lee, because we're all feeling very nervous about her at the moment. She's a girl, but...
Yeah, but what I will say, that makes great TV.
Oh, doesn't it just?
Yeah. I had to make this decision on the world trip because things were very volatile in the Middle East at that point, and developed through Africa when I was going down West Africa. As part of the reason why I ended up coming back from Africa. I think you have to be. There's a degree of risk we take riding a motorbike anyway, and then there's a degree of risk you take travelling on a motorbike, and an even higher degree of risk when you start pushing the boundaries into what we deem as like the West, when you move into outside parts of the world, like certainly the Middle East at the moment. I know plenty of people who were still travelling through Iraq and Afghanistan during the war, 20 years of the conflict. I know people who were travelling with no issues at all. But in my head, the way I reasoned it was, if I was to purposely and consciously go to these places and then got myself in the shtick, it's not just my life that's at risk then. If someone has to come and rescue me and get me out, well, they're only there because I made that decision to go and do it. So personally, I won't do that. I won't make a decision to go to somewhere that is particularly topical at that time. Having said that, on the world trip, I came all the way up through South America and Central America. I went through, El Salvador. I went through El Salvador, and at that point, that was the murder capital of the world.
Really?
It was deemed the most dangerous country in the world. And bear in mind, we had Iraq and Afghan going on at that point. Yeah. It was brilliant. I felt safe as houses. The people were fantastic. I didn't feel threatened at all when I went through there. Same with Mexico. God, my wife and I went back to Mexico on our honeymoon and met people that I met when I was traveling. We went to Mexico City and met them there. Obviously, there is a risk. There is a risk, for sure. But I think sometimes you have to weigh things up. The media hype stuff up the same way we hype up our thumbnails and our titles because they want the clicks. They want people to watch and listen to what they're saying. But you've got to be logical. You've got to put your common sense head on, I think. Yeah.
What is the oddest thing you've ever reviewed?
Oddest?
And it was Lamb Chops inspired this one because he did a lawnmower.
Yes. Oh, that was during COVID, wasn't it? Yeah, that's genius, that was. The oddest thing I've reviewed. God, I'm quite boring here, I think. The oddest thing. I don't think this is particularly odd, but it's something I really enjoyed. Right. Is I have a mate that refurbs classic motorbikes. Okay. Well, he's into everything and anything, but him and his dad they've got a selection of old classic motorbikes. Yeah. So he was really eager for me to go and take them for a little run and do like a review on them. And I really enjoyed it. You know, like 1930s, 50s and 60s style motorbikes. Yeah. Really enjoyed that. I think that's probably the most out there bike I've reviewed. It's quite boring, isn't it?
No, it's not. Yeah. Ian Mott again. Mm-hmm. Why do you say sync him up 1, 2, 3?
Oh, right. Okay, so the reason I do it, obviously I have the camera on my chin, and then I have a mic inside the helmet which is plugged into the camera, so you don't need to sync it up for that because the audio is going directly into the camera. But then I'm looking at this camera here. I'll have another camera on, say, the handlebars looking back at me.
Prime shot.
Yeah, that's the one. You need to sync that camera up with this camera. So by going sync them up 1, 2, 3, bang, it's like the clapperboard when you see in the movies when they're doing exactly the same thing. That's to sync up the visuals with audio. So that camera, when I look at the footage from this camera here, I'm looking for when that visor comes down, and then I mark that point.
Yeah. And
then on this camera that's looking out this way with the audio, you listen to the audio and you're looking for the peak in that audio. So when that peaks, you mark that. And you mark up that marker with the audio marker, and that's these two cameras synced up.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I've also got an audio recorder. Say I'm not relying on the, I did most of last year, I used an audio recorder.
Right.
I've not edited them yet, so I've no idea how it turned out. But things like rain plays havoc with your action cams when you're motovlogging. There's not a camera out there yet that has survived in the rain 100%. If you plug in a mic. If you're using wireless mics, a little bit different. But if you plug in a mic. So I just had an audio recorder that the audio goes straight in. This camera and that camera, you're purely syncing up on visuals. So that's why you do it.
Right. Have you ever Googled your own name? We're into the silly questions now.
No, but I did make the mistake very, very early on of venturing onto Reddit. And
yeah, you warned me against this.
Yeah, I did. I got a lot of flack on Reddit initially. So horrible things said about my mum, which I definitely did bite. Oh yeah. I have a certain set of skills from a previous life, and I was looking into utilising them to find this gentleman.
Really? Wow.
But we'll not go there.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I did look on Reddit, but I would not recommend. I would not recommend it.
Wow.
Not recommend.
Wow. DJI or GoPro?
DJI.
Right. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Oh, right. Indian.
Sorry, Beryl. Sorry.
Indian or Chinese?
Oh, I would have been Chinese, but the last few years, I never used to like spicy stuff, but now I'm developing a bit of a taste, so Indian.
I think that's the end of the video, and all I can say is, Bruce, it's been an absolute pleasure, buddy.
Mark, I've absolutely loved it. I'm so sorry it's taken us about 2 years to actually get going, but hope you enjoyed it, folks. It's been a pleasure.
Fabulous. Any mentions, shout outs, or kind of mention your Patreon and a few other the chicken strips and whatever, because if there is, I'll put them on the screen and I'll put them in the link in the description as well. I think it's only fair to Bruce, because, well, the guy has looked after me and has given me some fantastic advice over the years. So, chicken strips?
Yeah, touring business is chickenstrips.co.uk. I do that with Simon Weir, who's pretty much the world leading expert on biking roads, on the best biking roads out there. Written a lot of books, Bikers Britain, Bikers Europe, all this sort of stuff. So we've come together with chickenstrips.co.uk. Patrons, patreon.com/Teapot One. I literally couldn't do this full time without all your support over in the clan there. So if that's something you think you might enjoy, then thank you very much. Head there and see if there's anything take your fancy. The podcast is Brew Time, BRU time. That's just me talking like this on camera and audio about everything and anything.
Cool. And all I could add to that is buy me a coffee. So I have set up a buy me a coffee account. So if someone wants to buy me a coffee, they please do. I can't guarantee you, however, that I'll spend it on coffee. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed this video for any particular reason whatsoever, please feel free to leave a thumbs down. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below, and then hopefully I shall see you in the next one. Until next time, people, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.